welcome to Evil Popcorn Conversations. I'm the Baron. Please introduce yourselves around the video. That would be lovely.
Yeah, okie dokie. Yep, this is Mr. Popcorn.
I'm Scream Queen. I'm not a monster. I'm just a girl.
Yes, welcome to Evil Popcorn Conversations. Tonight's conversation between podcasts is going to be about our top 5 monsters from Monsterland, whether it be from horror films or what have you, depending on your particular version of what you think the genre is.
I like that.
So I think should we just start, or is there do we have a particular definition of monster? Anyone have a particular definition of monster? Or
I'd be curious to see how you two defined what you picked as a monster, or how you sort of filtered things out.
Okay, I had a friend over this afternoon who was helping me a little bit with my pick, and we had a bit of a discussion about the difference between what's a monster and what's a beast. So shout out to Cade for helping me with that this evening or this afternoon. So we had a little bit of a chat about that, and funnily enough, our lists were pretty similar, so that's great. So yes, the sort of difference between a monster and a beast. What about yourself?
If I can ask there, Baron, with your top 5, because we're going from 5 to 1.
Yep.
Are we? What are you just doing? Films? Or are you putting in other art mediums?
No, I have gone with films. I've gone with films.
Okay.
And I've picked particular films for the particular films that I liked with those monsters in them.
Okay.
To sort of give you an idea of what films I liked. So
I did the same. I was just curious of the way you were alluding to other stories and how you define and whether you had gone books or such things, or graphic novels or what have you.
Well, the primary discussion that I was having this afternoon was Jaws. Is Jaws a monster or a beast? Jaws is basically just acting as per his normal or her normal drives. Like it's not monstrous. It's just a giant killer fish.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, but you could easily apply that to, say, Ted Bundy. You could easily say is a monster.
Correct.
As well.
Yeah.
And
that's
would be
true.
often referred to more than as a monster than a beast. Yeah. But yeah, so it's very interchangeable.
All right.
Yeah, because I was thinking even like, does sort of a ghost, or like, is that a monster, or is someone who's possessed? Like, if you're talking about, like, again, I don't know what's on your list, but would you say that The Exorcist, like Reagan in The Exorcist, is a monster? Or like she's possessed by a monster?
For the purposes of the conversation, I would say the demon inside Regan is the monster.
Yes. Yeah.
Pazuzu.
Yeah, Pazuzu.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I sort of went, I would say no, I think, no to Reagan, yes to Pazuzu.
Yep. Okay.
And but then I was like, is Samara from The Ring, does she classify as a monster? I would
she's monster, but monsters can be tragic.
Yeah.
I think. Yep. Yes, like Samara is like Yeah,
because I sort of, I'm like, do humanoid type characters or villains classify as monsters? I feel like there are very distinct monsters that we have that are humanoid, but say like a zombie is a humanoid, used to be human monster, but then there are, I feel like there are some that you could argue either way that that's probably not a monster, like a ghost or something like that. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, so should we get started?
Yeah, because we can discuss all this as we go, I think, because it's very nuanced, actually.
Argue
it's quite
about what's
interchangeable,
nuanced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about I
Please,
kick
Scott.
off? How about I kick off?
Yeah, go
Please.
for it.
All
Yeah,
right.
go.
So my fifth spot is the aliens, the xenomorph aliens from Aliens.
Yeah.
Aliens, the film itself, when it first came out, it took me 3 goes to get through the film because it was like the feeling of the creatures and that sort of thing in it.
Hello.
Hello.
So what did you say at the end there? You broke up my end. My bad.
Okay. No,
Did you say that again?
it took me 3 goes to get through the film.
3. Yep. Why 3?
And I kept getting freaked out. Like I would stop the movie, I would go outside and stand in the sunshine, and then I'd come back in and start the film again.
Take a breather.
Just took a reality check. Yeah.
I feel like I've said this 1,000 times at this point, and we've only got like 3 episodes, but I haven't seen the Alien movies. I haven't, and it's like a huge gap in my.
Well, you are yet
my
young.
Cultural. Yeah, I'm really showing my age if I haven't seen the Alien. I really want to, but I haven't seen it, so I can't sit here and nod along without saying that I haven't seen the movie. But it did come up. The xenomorphs did come up a lot when I was looking at lists of famous movie monsters. So I feel like definitely noteworthy, but I couldn't put it on my list without having seen the movie. You know?
Okay, no, that's fair enough. So, what about you, Scream Queen? What's your number 5?
My number 5 is the giant saltwater crocodile from Lake Placid.
Nice. Yeah.
I feel like I had to have a giant water creature on the list because I love those movies so much. Obviously I was thinking maybe like a megalodon could be fun, but I think Lake Placid, I just loved that movie when I was a kid. And I just think it's so scary. The idea of this, I think it's supposed to be 30 feet long. Yeah. Which is 9 meters. For the Australians out there. That's a long crocodile.
It really is.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like I'm 1.8, 6.2 feet, 180 centimeters. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lake Placid crocodile. That is my 5th monster.
Did you watch the sequels?
I did. Again, I started watching these. It was like when we used to go to the DVD store and like rent a disc, and I got Lake Placid and I loved it. And then I got the sequels, and I think the age appropriateness of, because they do get a little bit Piranha 4DD-esque by the second movie. So I did watch the second one
4DD.
and I liked it, but as like a 11-year-old 12-year-old I was a little bit like, I don't know, am I supposed to be watching this or not? But,
yeah, that's a lot. Yeah,
but I still love it. You just can't go wrong with a giant crocodile.
True.
Who stars in it? Who stars in it? Who are the
in
majors?
The original, you have Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
Betty White.
Brendan Gleeson. Betty White. Oh yes.
She's the one feeding the crocodiles.
That's right. Yeah.
It's so good. Seeing like a young Bill Pullman just like on that boat waiting for the crocodile. It's so good. Bridget Fonda, who
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What was the line? Sheriff, can you get your deputy to stop poking the body with a stick?
It's a comedy. But it's scary.
Yeah.
Well, you're 11 and 12 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you're Australian, so you have crocs, in your mind.
I watched it last year. I think I didn't watch the whole movie, admittedly, but I watched it again. And I was like, this movie is good. Like, as a 10 years later, as a 22-year-old, I'm like, this is equally good as when I watched it when I was 12 years old.
It does hold up.
That's cool.
What about
Yeah.
you? What about you, Mr. Popcorn? What's your number 5?
I've never seen Lake Placid.
Watch
And
it.
quick question to you, Baron. How old were you with the xenomorphs? And what is there a particular aliens movie that scared you the most,
Well,
or one that scared you at that point in time that you're referencing?
Well, I saw Alien as a younger child and it didn't freak me out. But it's when Aliens, the sequel, came out with the colonial marines and all that sort of thing. But the aliens were
Yeah,
much scarier in that, probably because you could see them better.
yeah, the mouth stuff and the the drool, the radioactive drool and such. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, the second
yeah,
mouth inside the mouth, and yeah, it was
yeah,
that it
yeah,
was
yeah.
much scarier than the original. The original one was more of a thriller than a horror.
Suspenseful, very
Yeah.
suspenseful. Yeah.
Which
yeah,
one
yeah.
is the one with the famous chest burster? Is that the first one?
That's well.
Number one.
There's chest
Okay.
boasters in both, but yeah, the famous chest burster
Yeah,
scene is the first one. Alien.
Okay.
yeah. And that's out of Ian Holm,
Yes.
or yes,
Father
it is.
Cornelius from The Fifth Element.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, classic. Rest in peace with him as well, I think. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, Jesus. But yes, Baron, back to your previous question. My number 5 is Guillermo del Toro, and I'm butchering it. The Devil's Backbone. So it's
Oh,
ghosts.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you seen the Scream Queen?
No, I haven't.
It's a
Again.
beautiful film.
It is.
It's very sad. It's very somber. It's very Spanish.
I love Guillermo del Toro. I was actually looking at Pan's Labyrinth, thinking about the best monsters, because it's just like, I don't know what is in that man's brain that makes him just think of the most horrific things imaginable.
Yeah, he's a true fantasist.
Yeah.
Fantasist. Yeah.
For me, the two.
What did you
films,
say? Devil's Backbone?
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, the
Scott?
2 films with ghosts that I really liked in films were 13 Ghosts. And
It's fun. It's fun.
It's such a good film. And from way back in the 70s, a film called Ghost Ship. No, Ghost Ship.
Ghost Ship.
With Nazi gold and all that sort of stuff. It's a very scary, sort of locked on a drifting ship film, which I really enjoyed, but it was very scary.
The 1970s, you say?
Yeah.
So then there's the what was it? Ghost House Productions, I think they were called, or something, in the 90s or the 2000s, was it?
Which they filmed on the
and
coast.
they had. Did they really?
Yeah, it was a movie world deal.
Oh wow!
So they did that whole first cold open massacre kill scene there.
Yep.
That's cool, because that's a famous kill scene. I mean, the rest of the movie's meh, to be honest, but that kill scene is
it's amazing.
Yeah. But ghosts, because I've always tossed and turned whether they exist or not, and I've had experiences, but interesting mind, altered experience, altered states of mind, etc. I don't know if I could define them as ghosts. Sorry, go Scream Queen.
Sorry. What is the nature of the ghosts in this movie for someone who hasn't seen it? What are they like? Why are they there?
Okay,
what makes them so scary?
It's there's just a very quick summary here on IMDb. After Carlos, a 12-year-old whose father has died in the Spanish Civil War, he focuses on Civil War a bit.
He does. Now I'm like, ooh, okay.
Arrives at an anonymous boys' orphanage. He discovers the school is haunted and has many dark secrets which he must uncover. Okay, so that's the basic setup, but it's very sad. It's very ghostly, I know, for want of a better adjective. And the acting for the kids, especially in ghost form, and the effects enhance. It's really, done really well. And it's also Del Toro. He's not worrying about pleasing studios as well, like Pan's Labyrinth, because that's a non-Hollywood film. He's an interesting director because I thought he went from Spain to Hollywood, yeah. And so there was Pan's Labyrinth and this one, and then the Hollywood films. So I thought this was more it was better written. It was more, it was more mature and more better structured. And then it went to the Hollywood films, which I really like, but there's action tropes, and that sort of thing. They're more sexy, they're more action, da da da. Blade 2, for example, if you want an example
gritty.
of that. Sorry?
Would you say?
Yeah,
would you say it's sort of a less
gritty
than...
and definitely less intellectual and less emotionally devastating as well. Because Pan's Labyrinth is devastating, and so is this movie as well. Yeah, so if you like Pan's Labyrinth, definitely watch this movie. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. I've rambled for too long. Who's next?
Sorry, I asked.
No, all good. All good.
Baron, what's your number 2? Your number 4, sorry.
Hang on, I'm having a little bit. There we go. I was having trouble with the video. Okay, so my number 4 is werewolves.
Of course, they've got to come in. Yeah.
Oh, of course. So I've gone with 3 films in particular that I liked.
Okay.
Dog Soldiers, which is a UK film. Wolf Cop, which is an independent Canadian film, and Ginger Snaps, which is an American studio film.
Yay.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, love it.
I love a good werewolf. Any good werewolf film doesn't need another werewolf.
You like Ginger?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's connection. There we go. Sorry. Carry on. Sorry. Connection breaking there. People listening, apologies. I probably will edit out.
Okay, there we go.
Are we all back?
I'm back.
I'm back.
Okay.
All right. So actually pause just for a sec. Let me...
Yeah, all good.
Do something here with Zoom.
So when I'm moving my hands around, that's where the pause is. That doesn't help at all.
It's funny. Remember during the pandemic, and you'd be sitting there going, "Hello, hello."
Oh God, I do not miss studying over Zoom.
Oh.
Doing uni drama performances over Zoom.
We tried to do improv stuff over Zoom and it just didn't work.
God, it would be so how are you supposed to react to what people are saying when there's lag and pausing?
Yeah,
that would be really
terrible.
Tricky.
Continue. God dang it. Sorry about this.
No worries.
I may have seen a ghost. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that's also why.
I've heard some interesting stories from people that are pretty compelling. I don't know if I have ever seen a ghost, but the world is so weird. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
And look, we got black holes.
There we go. Fixed it.
Did you pay for Zoom? Did you, Scott?
No. I had the wrong settings, so I've sorted it. It's all good. It was on the other screen. All right. So where were we up to?
You were talking about werewolves.
Okay. Well, I might go from werewolves then. So
yeah. So I'll just hold on one sec. 1, 2, 3. After you.
All right. So my number 4 is werewolves. Like a good werewolf film. The 3 films in particular that I've picked for this is Dog Soldiers, which is a UK film, Wolf Cop, which is an independent Canadian film and has had a sequel that was kickstarted, and the movie Ginger Snaps, which was an American studio film with a female werewolf, which you don't often see.
Yeah.
Yes,
I have
Catherine
heard very good
Isabel
things.
is her name. There, Scott.
Yep.
Catherine Isabel, I believe.
Yep. That correct? Yes.
Yes, yeah. She's an American Mary. She was in Hannibal. She was in Freddy versus Jason.
Yep.
Yeah. I love all the Ginger Snaps I've seen. All three. Number one is a classic in my opinion. Wolf Cop I've certainly heard of, and Dog Soldiers is a gap in my viewing history. I do admit to it. Yeah.
Did I bring Dog
I
Soldiers
haven't
up last
seen
time?
any of them.
No, you
I
haven't
think we had a
seen
chat
Ginger
about
Snaps,
it.
Scream Queen?
Okay.
I haven't, but it has been on my list for so long. I feel like Ginger Snaps fits in that category of like coming of age monster.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Films. People like compare it. So it's in the same league as Jennifer's Body and that sort of type. Yeah. I need to see it. I don't know why I haven't already, but it's like if I had seen it, Werewolves would probably be on my list too, I feel.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think you'd fucking love it.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. So we'll go back in the other direction this time. So, Mr. Popcorn, what is your number 4?
Okay, my number 4 is okay. So in the monsters, it's humans, yeah.
Ooh.
And this is what we were talking about, off air before we started recording. And I think humans can be monsters, absolutely. Serial killers are monsters, world dictators, who commit war crimes and genocide and that sort of thing. They're monsters. It's monstrous behavior. They're referred to as monsters. As I gave Ted Bundy as an example, and he's referred to more often than not as a monster than, say, a beast like Jaws, which we put as a counterexample there, Baron. I don't know. What do you two think?
Oh, humans.
Do you think it's valid? Do you think it's valid? Yep. Yeah. Sorry.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at sort of like the zombie genre of films, just going off of watching The Undead, and not so much the case in that movie. But if you look at The Walking Dead, the humans in these sort of apocalyptic genre are always the worst. They're always the biggest threat. Yeah, I would say.
Absolutely.
Well, if you go back as far as, say, Dawn of the Dead, like in that film, they hunkered down in a abandoned mall, and they had a pretty good life going there. They had resources, they had protection. The zombies couldn't get to them, and it was only when the bikie gang came in and smashed all the doors open and let the zombies in that it became a problem, and that was because of other people. It wasn't about zombies; it was other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I'd also throw into the mix that when you think about vampires, werewolves, say, when the Dr. Jekyll and Hydes of, the mythical monster world, that it's an extension of what's inside the human to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah, that base, that animalistic, that's kind of, how these things were created to begin with, to understand that, and nature and, a whole bunch of other things. But I would argue that's a definitive part of it.
I would say that's the scariest monster, a human being.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a lot of people I speak to say, oh yeah, like haunting movies and zombie movies don't really scare me, but like home invasion movies scare the shit out of me. And it's because it's it's real. And people are people will invade your home.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope no one invades anyone's home, but
touch wood for everyone out there. But yes, so number 4 on that note, it is Hannibal. Now, it's not Silence of the Lambs. It's not Anthony Hopkins. It's not the movies. I mean, no comment about them at this stage. It's another discussion, unless you want to reference them, because I am talking about Hannibal, the TV show.
Yeah,
because I wanted to.
So good.
It's beautiful. That may be problematic because it is about Hannibal Lecter.
I mean, so many people love that show. The relationships are so fascinating.
Yeah, they are fascinating. They are absolutely fascinating. The characters, the dynamic between them, the power play that is shared. Yeah, because it's a lot of time in the psychologist's chair. Yeah. The respective chairs. Yes. But it really plays into the aesthetics of Hannibal Lecter's tastes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is externalized throughout the whole show beautifully, like fucking beautifully. And Mads Mikkelsen, I'd argue, was better than Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, I'm throwing it out there on
I'd
the pod.
agree.
Easily.
Yeah, you agree? Okay. If you haven't seen it, check it out, definitely. Even if you haven't seen the movies, you can go to this. Of course, check out the movies if you haven't already. What are you doing? But the show itself is absolutely beautiful. And Mads Mikkelsen, yeah, and that's the thing with a monster can also be charming. And this is one of the probably the most charming human monster that has ever been portrayed, is Mads Mikkelsen's portrayal of Hannibal Lecter in, I think it's Brian Fuller. Yeah, it's Brian Fuller's Netflix series. Yeah, Hannibal. There you go.
I super enjoyed it. I did have one story with regards to the Hannibal TV series. When it was coming out, I was commuting quite a bit, and I would watch Hannibal on my iPad on the train. And I had someone yelling at me for spoilers, and it's like, well, don't watch over my shoulder, you idiot.
It's so funny. I thought you were going to say someone was disgusted by the imagery or something.
No.
No, they just didn't want spoilers. That's so good. That's me. I love that show, but I haven't actually finished. I haven't finished it and I'm halfway through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's never going to get season 4.
No.
Even though there's
maybe I'm more than halfway through.
Yeah. One of the issues that they ran into with that is that I don't think they were going to go to the season 4. I don't think they were pulled for a season 4, so they went a bit hard fitting their stories into the book universe. So the season 3 feels a little rushed to me.
Okay.
I've heard similar critiques of it as well.
Okay. I did what's
have
his name?
See.
His name's Cody Leach. Shout out if you ever watch this. He's a YouTube movie reviewer. And I said that was with Silence of the Lambs, there's legal rights to the story, but he said he would love to see it done. And I do agree with him, because they did do, it's not spoilers, but Red Dragon does come into play there, Scream Queen. Yeah. And it's done beautifully. It's done way better than the movie, in my opinion. The movie's fine, but the TV show is my chef's kiss. I think they would do this artistic crew, cast and crew. Would nail Silence of the Lambs, how well they did Red Dragon. That's what Cody Leach said, and I entirely agree with him. Yeah.
And the Clarice TV series is worth watching as well, especially with the rights issues. They couldn't use Hannibal. They couldn't use Hannibal in Clarice.
Understood.
So they did other stuff, and it's really good.
Ooh, okay, good to know. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's a cool universe, as the kids say. The whole Thomas Harris universe there. So who's next?
I think me.
Yes. Scream Queen, your number 4, please.
Yes, my number 4. This one's a little bit. These have been very general. This one's a little bit specific, but it feels worth noting for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it a mutant. As the umbrella. I'm not talking X-Men. Don't worry.
Okay.
This is the bear from Annihilation.
Oh.
Oh my goodness, good choice.
So it's very specific, but I saw it
Classy.
in a couple of articles, and I was like, that scared me so much when I watched this movie. So for those who don't know, Annihilation is a sort of sci-fi horror about biological mutation in this sort of, there's a section where everything is just sort of transformed, and the animals are like funky and like monstrous, and there's this bear that hunts these scientists, these women that have gone into this weird alien section of where they are, and it speaks with the voice of their friend that it has just killed.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's fucked up.
And it's horrific. It's horrific. And this bear, it's not like just like a grizzly bear. It's got like sort of a skeletal face. Like, it's just so terrifying. And it's speaking with this human voice, but you can see its sort of teeth like drooling and gnashing. And it is just
monstrous.
Like that. Monstrous. And that's why I think it deserves number 4 on this list. On my list.
Great choice. Yeah, great choice. Deep cut. Yeah, I like it. Alex Garland, yeah, he did Ex Machina and Men most recently, I believe. Yeah.
I hated that movie. Anyway, that's not what this is about. But I hate
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah.
Although,
yeah, that's cool.
Just as an aside, we could probably do our next conversation on horror movies we hated.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, so many.
Okay.
That's a good list.
Just came to mind.
I struggled with this list because I don't think I've watched a lot of the horror I've watched. I wouldn't classify it as monster movies.
Yeah.
I feel like we've sort of gone away from the sort of monster movie. Say of like your like Dracula and Frankenstein and like your traditional mummies and stuff. Which is interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of ghost and supernatural stuff that is channeled through human dread, despair, and breakdown.
And then the human monster is very common as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting.
All right, number 3.
Number 3. Well, do you want to kick us off then, Scream Queen, on number 3?
Oh yeah. Okay, this one again. I'm saying Aliens, but I want to use a different.
Cool.
Like, usually, I'm not a big alien sci-fi girl most of the time, but this alien I think is noteworthy enough to make my number 3. Nope, the movie Nope, the alien, fondly called.
Right. Okay, this is interesting.
Jean Jacket. I think it's the name of the alien. I think is so good. Again, terrifying. I thought it was really I'd never sort of seen an alien like that before. Interacting with the humans. Oh, Jean has some strong feelings.
I do have feelings. I can see some this. I'm trying not to. Yeah. Please.
Yeah, I really loved it. I thought it was like just fucking terrifying. The way it's so omnipresent and immense and powerful and relentless. Yeah, this sort of, it can be invisible. It is humongous. Yeah. It's just this void of destruction. And like it can rain blood of its victims just over an entire house. I thought it was so surprising and so scary. And I'm not an alien person, but this alien was so fascinating. The fact that it was this sort of balloon like type craft, but it was actually a creature. I don't know. I really loved it.
That's good. It's a valid choice.
Jean, I'm curious to see what your feelings were.
No, I'm not gonna. No, that was beautifully put. Yeah, because of my functional question, my podcast related question is, why you found it frightening? Why was it frightening? And you answered that wonderfully. Yeah. I didn't enjoy the movie.
Really?
So it didn't scare me. Yeah.
I know. Nope was a little bit controversial. I know it didn't have the sort of critical reception that Get Out. Get Out is obviously it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And Us is very good, but
Us is cool. I liked Us.
I think I prefer Nope over Us. I just thought it was really fascinating. Obviously, it's the theme of the spectacle and sort of the lengths humans will go to sort of get that picture or get that fame.
Yeah.
And just to have this massive fucking alien just destroy everything and suck everyone up, and from an entire like grandstand. And I think what scared me most is that shot where they're inside and it is just, you can just hear just screaming and everyone is just compressed all together. There's no room, there's no escape, they cannot go anywhere, they're just stuck there, and it's just screaming. Like that is that is my worst nightmare.
Okay.
That is nightmarish. Just, these people are absolutely helpless. And like, it's not like Red Riding Hood, you can cut the belly of the wolf open and the people are saved. It's like, no, they're lost forever. That's like, look, I'm not saying the audience of this show in the middle of nowhere was very large, but it was significant enough to lose about 30 people to this giant monster. So yeah, scared me a lot. I loved that.
Yeah. Fantastically put. Okay. Is there something that scares you in everyday life that happened?
Jean jacket?
Just random question. Yeah. No. The idea of, like, say, an omnipresent or unknowable void that can like suck you up like that, or can rain down devastation, something outside your comprehension that can destroy.
You mean the patriarchy?
Yeah, you just right, yeah. You just described death to me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You just very well put. That is nightmarish. I wonder if that is
part of what he's saying.
That's mortality. That's what it feels to be human. Is just the thought of your next place being just this unknowable void of just no escape.
No, I can see it, because I can see the emotions. I can see it in your eyes. It did actually affect you, which is great. Which is great. Which is what a good horror movie should do, or horror science fiction. That's another discussion.
I think it really surprised me. How I finish.
We could do a Jordan Peele series, perhaps.
Oh, we should, absolutely.
Jordan Peele's overview one day, because he is significant. Yeah,
we're happy to revisit those films.
Same. Excuse me.
Do you want to go next, Mr. Popcorn? What's your number 3?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Can you? I don't know if you can see it. There's a little DVD over there on the second to bottom shelf, and it is of the movie. Hold on, I'll get it. 1 second. I'm not prepared.
Ooh, apologies.
Props. It's effects. It's this movie here.
Oh, I don't have any props. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dolls. Yeah.
Yeah.
From 1987. Like, ghosts scare me. I once had a little moment when I was waking up in bed, and it might have been in a waking dream state. I don't know. So I don't know if I'd call it a ghost, but there was, I don't know, she might have been about 20, and she was dressed in, civilian gear, bouncing a tennis ball, laying down, bouncing a tennis ball on the ground, going, "My name is Sally, and I'm very sad." And then she kind of slowly, what's the word? Disseparated, what's the word? She just disappeared. Disintegrated, so there's an apparition, and it comes into being, and then when an apparition disappears, look like that. Yes, like a ghost fading away, and yes, and that scared me. And so I've never been sure if ghosts are real or not, and that just unnerves me. And when it's shown in a good movie, it can freak me out. Humans are monsters. We all know this. I don't need to go into details with that. I think I mentioned that Nightmare on Elm Street was my first ever proper horror film that freaked the fuck out of me. Yeah. Okay. The second one was Child's Play. Now, I didn't choose Child's Play because I've already covered it, and we're just talking about, monsters in films in general. Yes. And I just wanted to show highlight movies that people may not know about, and this is from 1987. It's called Dolls. You've seen it, Baron?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you would. I thought you would have. Scream
Yeah.
Queen, have you seen or heard of?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I have not seen it.
It's called Dolls. It's really 80s. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But so the human actors, the everyday people acting's not great, but there's an old toy maker with his wife, and they're spooky as fuck. They're great. The dolls are actually done really well. It's reminiscent of the Puppet Master series, and the way they're done and the kind of animation, and they crawl all over you, stabbing you. It's hilarious. But there's some beautiful shots in it. Some of the cinematography is actually really good, because I rewatched this recently. And it's got a kind of MTV vibe, because that was still a thing in 1987. And Chucky did scare me when I saw it. Yeah, Child's Play did absolutely freak the fuck out of me, but I absolutely loved it as well, and started imitating his voice, and people that I was staying with knocking outside their doors and going, wanna play? Start, the young scare actor starting up there. And but this is just a movie I wanted to highlight. But yeah, Dolls, they did scare me in movies, but now I absolutely love them. And this one I just thought was a hidden gem, really. I think it's an unknown gem. So that's my number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, dolls and puppets.
Dolls squared.
Yeah. Okay. My number 3, I am going to have to go with giant monsters. So we're talking Godzilla, kaiju, that sort of thing. Obviously, the Godzilla films, Pacific Rim. I love that. Like giant monsters being punched by giant robots. I will watch that till the end of time if that's all it's provided.
Guillermo del Toro as well.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun.
And look, the giant monster shop and other stuff like there's some wonderful giant monsters in the various incarnations of Hellboy, Guillermo del Toro once again. I loved the giant monsters that you couldn't quite see in The Mist and Cloverfield and all that sort of thing. But yeah, giant monsters, and the draw for me with those is the fact that they are a completely uncontrollable force. Like most of those films will have a scene somewhere where Godzilla's striding down Fifth Avenue in New York, and there's a tank, and it's firing at Godzilla, and Godzilla doesn't even notice, and then steps on the tank, and you think, oh no, Godzilla meant to do that. No, the tank was just in the way, and it got stood on. I'm going to do an honorable mention, obviously, with this. So the giant Mr. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters is a favorite. Kaiju.
I was hoping you would remember.
Kaiju, as obviously with the Ghostbusters shirt on. Yes, so I love a good giant monster, and I always like to see the way the filmmakers come up with to get rid of or destroy the giant monster.
I think the giant monsters should just be allowed to take over.
I agree. Yeah. 100%.
It's just survival of the fittest. That's Darwin. Right?
Yeah, and the non-survival of the flattest.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more fun having big monsters just stomping around.
Yeah. Actually,
just fighting each other.
Honorable mention then to Rampage, the Rock, the movie with the Rock, with the giant wolf, alligator, and gorilla. Yeah, it's really good, based on a super dodgy arcade game from the early 80s.
I know the game. I played the game.
Yeah. The movie is actually quite good. Like the creatures are very well done.
Did you see that one? There's a new one that's been done, an old school game that's now a Netflix series. Metal Gear. Yeah, Metal Gear.
No, I haven't. I've been watching One Piece. Not particularly monstery.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's very good.
There's giant monsters in that, and the people are quite monstrous. So it's quite. I'm not a One Piece fan, but I'm really enjoying the live action.
I'm listening to a review about it randomly. Yeah.
Okay. Netflix, if you want to sponsor us, that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yes.
Yeah, giant monsters. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good way to categorize. Yeah.
Scream Queen is your number 2, yeah?
Number 2, I had 2. My number 2 are Gremlins.
Oh, nice.
Yes, couldn't agree more. Couldn't be more happy. So about
good. I just like a good old monster that's cut and dry. You know the rules. You know how they work. They're destructive little shits. They just want to have fun. I love those movies. I know Jean also loves the Gremlin movies. Who doesn't? Gremlins are just such fun monsters. I like that they have a hierarchy. So they have a lead gremlin.
Spike.
Yes.
Spike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Spike.
They're messing with the electricity. They're killing people. They're definitely monsters.
Yeah.
In my book.
And they're hilarious. Yeah.
They're so Oh no, sorry, you go.
All I'll say is if you haven't seen this since you were young, if you are, a Star Wars baby, shall we say, a Gremlins baby, and you haven't seen it since you were young, go back and watch it. It's incredible. It's hilarious.
It's so good. I watched it a lot when I was younger. Like I would say from like 8 to 12, I watched it a lot. And I went back, I watched it this past Christmas. And I was laughing out loud. Like, I think my favorite part from the first movie is when Spike is in the mall and he walks into a store and he sees a gun behind glass and he just goes, gun. And then this gremlin just has a gun. That was hilarious. Like, not to say that I don't condone the use of guns unless you're a tiny little scaly monster. Then you can have a gun, because just as soon as you get a monster using a gun, that is the most ridiculous thing I can possibly imagine. Like swords have an element of fantasy, magical powers. That's fantastical. But when you just bring like a human gun into things, that is
it
so
becomes
funny.
a new level of absurdity.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's dark. There are dark elements and dark moments to it. I mean, you could argue this is a comedy horror Christmas movie.
Well, the first one had a lot more horror elements than the second one did.
Yeah, the second one is sort of just crazy.
Yeah, it gets goofy. It does get goofy. It's fine, but it gets goofy.
But yeah.
But I used to watch that. I had a copy of that I recorded off television way back in the day. And I used to watch it like once a month at the very least. I have the novelization of the film, which I read over and over and over again. And I happened to be speaking at Supernova to Zach Galligan, the guy that plays Billy Peltzer, the main character in Gremlins. And he started quizzing me. I said, I used to watch it nearly every weekend, and I read the book over and over again. And he started quizzing me, and he got about 8 questions in, and I hadn't got one wrong. And he went, "You really are a Gremlins super fan, aren't you?" And I went, yeah, I really am. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Galligan. It's exciting to see you. I'm just going to go over here quietly.
That's a flex.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So yeah, I love Gremlins. Gremlins are amazing. It's a great choice. What about the other those other kind of films that came out at the same time, sort of like Critters and Ghoulies and like, would you count them as well, or just the Gremlins in particular?
I haven't seen those movies. That's the thing. I'm going to be honest again. But I guess I would put them in the same category, just little rascals.
Yeah.
Little rascal monsters, I think, are just fun. With a particular fondness for the Gremlins.
Sure.
Gremlins are the most family-friendly, accessible of, say, Little Rascals, as you say, the screen
Little Rascals.
Because the Critters I need to rewatch. I haven't seen them since I was a kid. Ghoulies I remember because I love the Ghoulies. Definitely one of my favorite early, cheesy 80 horror franchises. And when I was a kid, I was obsessed with them. And they're the darkest incarnation of the Little Rascals, shall we say? Yeah.
100%.
They're the most demonic ones. Yeah,
but
it's still funny and kind of cute though as well. Definitely. Yeah, cool.
Hey, we went from giant monsters to Little Rascals.
Yeah. So we're on 2, aren't we? Yes. Okay, good. Good. Mr. Popcorn, did you do your number 2?
No,
You
not
wanna go
yet
next?
there, Baron.
You want to go next?
Absolutely, thank you. Where is this director's name? I'm going to butcher it because I cannot help but do so. It is Luca
Guadagnino.
Luca, thank you. Yes,
Guadagnino.
that is the director. So it's Witches.
Ah.
Never scared me, just like, so, there's fandom mixed in with fear here. Absolutely, of course. And it's Luca's Suspiria from 2018.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you like? Yeah, you
Yeah.
both like?
Yeah, that was
okay.
going to be on my
Good.
list as well. It's an
Okay.
honorable mention for sure.
Okay.
I'm partial to the original.
Okay.
I like them both.
Well, that's
for
the
reasons.
discussion. That's
I
where
like them both as well.
the political debate that rivals left versus right
they
goes
kind of,
on, because Suspiria is beloved, the 1970s Suspiria, of course. Yeah. Scream Queen, you were going to say something there?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think, so I don't know if I would watch I wouldn't go back to the remake as often as I would the original, just because it's very full on. It's very eerie, and I don't even know how it was a trip to watch that movie, and it's beautiful, and I think Luca Guadagnino is an amazing director. I think, and it's the performances are amazing. You have Mia Goth, who now has risen to horror fame. Dakota Johnson is the lead, Tilda Swinton. Like it's perfect and visually
playing
stunning.
3 characters, if I'm not mistaken.
And
Swinton,
the end again was very scary and gory, and I loved it, where she just sort of the light pours out of her chest and you're like, this is great. But I was also a little bit like, what is going on?
It's funny that you say that, because I do have to state it. I have to stand my ground that I think Argento's a little bit overrated. I know I'm throwing it out there. Beautiful to look at, tableaus, gorgeous tableaus galore, but in terms of structuring a film, and even in terms of kind of basic kind of sensical editing, it's not really there. I don't think Argento can structure a film to save his life, and Suspiria is a big example of that. Okay, that's throwing it out there. No, that as always, respect everyone's
an impassioned speech. I haven't seen it a lot of his other stuff, Argento's other stuff.
But I know Baron's still looking at me there, listeners, with disbelief in his eye. But this will all be discussed in future episodes.
Yeah.
This is what makes it spicy, though. Agree? This is what makes it spicy.
Everyone has their own opinion,
rather than just agreeing. Yeah.
Everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah, and
absolutely. Of course.
And
I mean, it's wrong.
I say that it's wrong. Everyone has a wrong opinion.
Everyone has a wrong opinion.
Yeah.
You're entitled to your wrong opinions.
Yeah, why not?
And look, I say I don't understand the ending of the new one. I do, but I'm not saying that you need to understand a film.
No, it's crazy. I'm not saying the
especially
ending of
with
this
horror.
one isn't crazy. Yeah.
This
one's berserk as well.
There's this thing with horror. I think they toe a line between sort of surreal and trippy. There's a very fine line between going to silly.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely towed that line for me. Whereas I found the original freaky, where she's sort of behind that sheet and there's that red light. And I think maybe the age of that film helps sort of with the scariness, because obviously you don't have the sort of really heavy makeup of the more recent one, if that makes any sense. But I think that's a really good choice. I think that is a great monster.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's the best example of their power in this, their monstrous power, or the 3 witches. Yeah. It's just if you know the the Argento films with the trilogy, and with this, she's playing three characters, so it's a kind of alluding to Argento's Three Witches. You have to see both films to see what I mean. It's a complicated affair, but you have is it Mia Goth or Dakota Fanning in the dance death scene? I think it's Fanning, isn't it? Because Goth carries on in the movie.
I think it's Mia Goth.
Yeah.
It's Mia Goth. She doesn't die in it. She just gets fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, she gets fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a weird. There's a subgenre of horror that I like. That is dance horror. Black Swan is an obvious example. Yeah. And this is another movie that I think fits in. Yeah, it's the new one. The new one.
I do want to do a list of movies non-horror movies that scared us, and Cats would be.
That's pretty good.
That's great.
I'd have to go with The Never-Ending Story then.
Ooh, I like that. It's a good one. Can you? Because I'm typing down one idea. Can someone write that idea down?
Yeah.
Is that all right? So we actually don't. Because Scream Queen, I'm writing down the line between surreal, sublime, and silly movies.
Yep.
Yeah, the ones that cross that line. Yeah.
There's a lot of line crossing, I think, in 21st century horror.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
21st century is broad, but maybe 2010s horror, 2020 horror.
Okay. Could do decades. But that dance death scene, in that studio is executed amazingly. It's hard to watch, but you can't look away because it's also beautifully done. And I do like that. I like elegant violence in horror. Yeah. The Perfection is a recent movie that was on Netflix. About I think she was a celloist or a violinist. Yeah, went to that school.
Cellist,
let's say they were rather strict at the school she finds herself at. Stuff like that I dig, and this is a good example of that. And that death scene was just done beautifully. That dance, it's not a death scene. It's that severe instruction, severe maiming as instruction. Yeah, so check it out. Yeah, if you haven't, give it a go.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my number two. Scream Queen. Are we at your
I think
one?
The Baron.
Sure, I'll go. I'm happy.
Have you done number two?
No, I haven't.
Oh, my bad.
Go
number
Baron,
two. Number two.
Oh, go number two. It's all good. Well, I'm not going to go. I'm going to sit here and that's a good joke. I'm not going to do that one. Too late already did it.
I'll go number two. Oh,
yeah.
God. Sorry, I had to repeat it just to let it sink in.
So I'm going to go number two. I'm going to go very specific with a particular franchise of films that I've liked forever since the first one came out. Wishing I'd seen any of them on the big screen. They were all pretty much direct-to-video kind of movies, and this is the Tremors series with the graboids. So the Tremors series I love dearly. My entree to that series was Fred Ward, who played Earl in the first Tremors film. He was in another film called Remo Williams Unarmed and Dangerous, which was called in Australia. In America it was called Remo Williams The Adventure Begins. It was supposed to kickstart an action movie franchise, and it never got past the first film, unfortunately. But I have a shelf here of 160 odd pulp paperback novels related to that universe. So my entree was him. So I saw that film and went, oh, Fred Ward's in this, I will have to watch it, and was just captivated by these underground monsters that kill people. It's basically Jaws in the desert. And then as the movies go on, they get more and more ridiculous. So they have a life cycle where they have a little walking creature called a shrieker, and then they have the next thing which flies through the air, and it's called an ass blaster, and they eat people.
I've never seen them. Full disclosure, I've never seen them.
Yeah, I haven't either. But I'm looking at a picture of a graboid right now.
I certainly know what you're talking about. They're legendary. There's about 6 or 7 of them out there.
7 so far, yes. But the other standout
Ass
character
Blaster.
for me.
You did say Ass Blaster.
Yes. Yeah,
okay,
it flies through the air by shooting heated chemicals out of its butt.
Oh, does it now?
Kind of glides.
It's very funny. I thought you were going to say it flies off the tongue.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. But there's 2. Like the first one's got Kevin Bacon in it. and all of them so far have had Michael Gross, the dad from Family Ties, in them as this weird prepper, anti-government type who's chosen to live in this one particular valley because of it's not going to get nuclear drift or something. So he's just got this campaign. No, that's not the right word. Compound, where he's gonna see out the apocalypse, and then all of a sudden there's these giant burrowing underground monsters that want to eat everybody. I love a good grab word film, and honorable mention down this path. There's an Irish film called Grabbers. Yeah, Grabbers. Where it's set on a little island out in the Irish Sea, and the only way to avoid being eaten by these monsters is to be constantly drunk. So they won't take you if you smell of alcohol.
And you said it's Irish?
Yes. Yeah. It's an Irish film called Grabbers.
Of course it is. I am Irish, I can say that. Okay.
So yeah, love a good underground monster.
That's funny. That's cool. I love that. That's very cool. Are we at number ones?
Yeah, I've got number ones left. Has everyone else got number ones left?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Okay. Let's finish with you there, Scott, since you kind of, ran this one.
Okay.
You hosted this one.
Right. I'm going to go with a classic. Oh, no, you want me to go last? I'll go last. I'll finish with me.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
I'll do this then.
Scream Queen, what do you got?
Okay. This is my number one. Call me basic. Do whatever. Thank you. It's a vampire. A vampire is my number one monster. I love vampires. I think they are the sexiest of the monsters. They are the funniest of the monsters. I want to be I don't want to be a vampire, but they're not funniest.
I'm thinking you wouldn't want to be a vampire. Why wouldn't you? Why not?
No,
why not?
I would. I don't. I'm not walking around
Scott
asking
is gone. My number one is vampires. Let's pretend that I didn't tell you. My number one's vampires. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
No, sorry, I would want to, but I don't want to sound like some sort of vampire freak. Someone that wants to be changed, like what we do in the shadows. What are they called? Your familiar. I don't want to sound like a familiar.
Yeah, no. Screw that. Yeah.
But I think being a vampire. Look, I don't want eternal life, but I think being a vampire would be fun. I would be more vegetarian style vampire. Vampire and like Twilight. Yes.
Like Twilight. Go hunt the bunnies. Go hunt bunnies. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll hunt deer.
Deer. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Vegetarian in life, vegetarian in death, death also.
Eternity I love is vampires. The kicker. Eternity is the kicker. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I was just like, I need to maybe fall in love with another vampire, live like a solid chunk of time, and then get them to. We end it together.
Did you have a particular vampire film? Like, what's your favorite vampire?
Please.
I do. And I think it might have upset a few people. I have the Hugh Jackman classic. Van Helsing.
Nice.
Classic.
I love that movie.
I'm joking. Go for it.
I think, what's his name? Richard
Roxburgh.
Richard Roxburgh, his Dracula is
amazing.
Like you can tell he's having a blast.
He does the really nice sort of, I am a European fashion disaster and I'm a monster.
Yeah, his accent is ridiculous. It's so gorgeous. His performance, it's so intense. I love that Dracula. Do I think it's the best performance of Dracula ever to be done? Absolutely not, but it's my favorite. And I also have here as an example of a good vampire is Midnight Mass. If anyone has seen it, the Mike Flanagan
loved it.
show. That depiction of Dracula
it's
or
great,
a vampire.
Yeah.
It's not Dracula. I don't know. Is it spoilers, by the way, if you want to get into that show. But I mean, heavily hinted at in the very beginning. But
it's
the visuals. Talking about monsters fighting monsters, where Dracula in Van Helsing fights the giant werewolf. That is a great fight.
And don't forget Frankenstein's monsters in there as well.
You've got a lot of monsters in Van Helsing. That's my favorite monster film. If I said I didn't watch a lot of monster movies, but I do watch that maybe every 6 months.
Nice.
So
that's cool. Not what I was expecting, but that is cool.
I love.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you like what's going on with Van Helsing with the mishmash of all these literary monsters, have you seen Penny Dreadful, the series?
No, but
because they do the same thing pretty much,
I know.
In a bit more of a serious fashion, but
it's a bit more subtle. It's a bit more
more subtle, a bit more serious.
Look,
I mean, it's
one thing.
Heavily
one
emotional.
thing Van Helsing isn't is subtle.
No.
Penny. Yeah, I need to watch Penny Dreadful.
I recommend.
I know that I would.
I do
love
recommend.
It.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say, I can't remember now. No, it's all good. It's probably a lie. Don't worry about it.
I think vampires are perfect. So many good vampire movies. Like I could watch. I never get old, and every vampire sort of has a different sort of rules.
Yeah.
I guess, and you think about like Nosferatu, like just the way that he looks, I just think is so menacing. And
did you see
so
Voyage
fun.
of the Demeter?
No, I haven't yet.
It's really good. I would suggest it.
Okay,
yeah.
I was
cool.
I wasn't sure about it.
Neither,
but that's good to know. Yeah,
cool. Okay, cool.
It's a proper monstrous vampire. Like there's not a lot of that voyage covered in the book, the original text of Dracula, but they've done a really good job of fleshing out what happens on board ship.
Okay.
So yeah.
No, so I like that director as well. I like that director as well. He did Troll Hunter and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yep.
Yeah, and one of my favorite horrors, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Yep. Yeah, he's cool. I'll just curtail off that there, Scream Queen, because my number one is vampires as well. And for all the things that you've said, once upon a time when I was a kid, they ask you in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I did say vampire in class. Yeah, I have dug them for a very, very long time. And the movie this was a hard choice because there are so many good vampire films. And I like from like say Nosferatu in the 1920s to Blade 2. I like all different styles and sorts of vampire films. Blade 3 was okay, but that's another discussion. But the movie that I chose, because again I want to highlight maybe some unknown gems out there, I am going for the Swedish. I haven't seen the American remake, but I've heard it's pretty good for an American remake. The Swedish original of Let the Right One In.
Yeah.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Okay. The remake is okay.
Okay.
I didn't love it.
Yeah.
It's
I avoided it for obvious reasons, basically. Yeah. But like The Devil's Backbone, great kid actors, beautiful story, very sad, very touching, definitely some dark, gory, great moments in it. So you're horror fans, like The Devil's Backbone, you're not going to be, it's not A24. The horror does happen earlier on rather than the last half an hour. Love A24, but it is a proper horror film. But it's great, and also the Swedish environment plays into it beautifully. You can do some wonderful things with lighting and cinematography in that kind of misty, foggy, snowy business. Yeah, Scream Queen.
I was just going to say it's sort of snowy sort of landscape.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to let him in because it's cold outside, and
absolutely, and it really helps you become another party in the kids' world, the environment. You know what I mean? That sense of self-inflicted isolation. You become immersed in their secret world they share together. Yes, and the kids do great, especially the young chick who plays the vampire.
Another vampire movie I watched recently for the first time is 30 Days of Night.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
That movie, I loved that, the way that vampires were depicted in that. Like, very monstrous vampires, less human,
and
more
alien.
Yeah, the black eyes and the long fingers and the long faces. That, and just the premise of that movie, just like, oh, this town is drowned in darkness for a month.
Yes, great. Yeah,
snowed in, no
great
connection to the
great
outside
setup.
world.
Yes,
what a feast.
Yes,
that movie's
definitely
loved it. Genius.
That movie, I Let the Right One In. It was a toss up between that and Only Lovers Left Alive. I do have to say, though, I
haven't seen that, but I've heard it's good.
Watch it. Yeah, it's just, that movie's just cool.
I love Tilda Swinton.
Yeah. And what's his name?
Tom Hiddleston.
Thank you. Yes, of course. No. That's just.
I've heard that film is very beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah. Who directs it? It's not Jim Jarmusch. It could be a Jim Jarmusch film. It's that style. It's very stylistic. Yeah. It's not necessarily saying a lot, but it's a fun time and beautiful thing to watch. Yeah. It's very cool. So it's my number one. Yeah, vampires. Yes, of course. Okay. And let the right one in. Baron, please.
All right. Well, just to be different to the two of you, my number one monster is vampires.
Oh, really?
For real?
100%. We all came up with these lists separately. We've all come up with the same number one.
Have not talked to each other. Like I said, who you got? What do you think? No.
So funny.
I've always liked vampires ever since I was a kid. My top kind of three horror-y vampire movies, I'm going to have to go with Near Dark.
Watched it last night. First time in years. Loved it.
Now, this nicely bookends my list because three of the actors from Near Dark are from Aliens, which was my number 5.
What was that? What was your number? Oh, Aliens. Yeah.
Because Aliens number 5. So yeah. John Carpenter's Vampires. I really enjoyed. The original novel written by, forgive kind of the pun, John Stakely, was Vampires with a $sign for the S. Excellent book. The movie is better. And haven't heard of it. I'm going to have to go with Lost Boys as well. So I really enjoyed the first Lost Boys film. The second and third, not so much. And honorable mention there is the Dusk Till Dawn films.
What's your number one desert island gun to the head film?
For vampires?
For vampires.
Monster Squad.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Lost Boys. Okay.
Careful.
Cool.
For a very similar reason to Scream Queen's liking of Van Helsing, I love a good crossover film. And Monster Squad has Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the Gill Man, a mummy, and a werewolf in it.
Oh, also Van Helsing has Jekyll, like Dr. Jekyll.
Oh, Dr. Jekyll, yes.
Mr.
I
Hyde
forgot about him
as well.
Before, yes. Temporarily. And the animated show is more about him. The animated Van Helsing movie.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
Hugh Jackman is the only Van Helsing that I.
He does the voice. So it's a short film. It's animated.
Oh, right.
It's him catching Jekyll. Hyde.
Oh,
it's him
great.
Catching Hyde.
So
yeah, I can't believe we all said vampires. If that's not indicative of how prolific vampires are to the horror genre, I don't know what is.
If you haven't seen the new Interview with a Vampire TV series on I think it's HBO, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't a fan of Tom Cruise's version, but the TV series is really good. Like, it's quantum leaps better than the movies.
I have heard it's better, but I do love the original movie.
Sure.
I really like the original as well.
Antonio Banderas.
He's amazing. He as the vampire Louis.
Armand.
Louis. Armand. Sorry, Armand. Yeah,
Armand. Yeah.
He's amazing.
Vampires.
I kept waiting for him to show up in the series and go, no, it'll be him. It'll be him.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. But
Damn.
but the vampire shows up, but it's not being played by our favorite.
Okay.
So but
He's too old, I guess. I don't.
Yeah. But no,
I don't
it's
know how
amazing
old.
that we've all
I'm sorry.
separately picked vampires. It's yeah.
Yeah, and we can't talk about vampires. At least I can't without talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Of course.
That started my love of vampires. At least.
Well, yeah. No. I've seen both. I've seen all of it twice. Yeah. It's definitely in my top 5 shows of all time. Yeah, if not top 3.
I don't know how many times I started watching that show very young. And have watched it over and over. And Angel as well, a great series.
I've touched on it, and don't dislike it. It was just, well, Buffy's a lot to watch. Yeah. And I just didn't go into the Angel. Yeah.
Angel is great.
If there had been a Willow spin-off show, I would have watched the shit out of that.
That's true.
I'll see if I can
shout out to Buffy.
I'll see if I can dig out the photo of me being hugged by James Masters then.
Oh, God, I'm so jealous. I was just about to say Spike is my favorite.
Drusilla. I mean, come on now.
Drusilla. Oh, my gosh.
Drusilla, sorry.
Have you seen the show that they're doing with the original cast, the audio series that they're doing with all of their Charisma Carpenter?
Oh, well, no, I didn't know they were doing that. No,
the voice of Tara, James Masters, Drusilla. All of those actors have come back to record. Anya as well have come back to record this.
I liked
series,
Anya,
which is awesome.
yeah.
Anya is so great.
Cool. Yeah, the bunny suit at Halloween. I mean, come on.
If you haven't seen it, Scream Queen, there's a movie from the 90s, maybe late 80s, called Sundown: The Vampire in Retreat. And it is set in the desert, in a town populated only by vampires who are trying to not be monsters.
Right.
And Bruce Campbell plays the latest Van Helsing, who's on his way
the
to
king of horror. Yeah. He's not the king of horror.
Baron, how would you get over eternity? Because we'd all deal with the vampire business. We'd all become accustomed.
Yeah.
But how would you deal with the eternal life thing?
I'd go for really long walks. I mean, I would walk from Australia to America undersea.
Okay. All right. That's okay. Okay.
Like eventually you would go. Can I do this? Sure. Why not? I'll give it a go. And I
challenge.
You'd be like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump. I just felt like running.
Of the vampire.
Yeah. And look, if we're going to follow particular rules, I would probably follow the Vampire the Masquerade rules. So what I would probably have following me, you can in that you can ghoul people by you give them a little bit of your blood and they get extra strength and extra speed and extra life. So I would probably have a couple of great white sharks that I'd fed some of my blood, just sort of behind me, just following me all the way across in case a giant squid, something attacks me. I'd have someone there to help me out.
Brilliant. Done. Well,
beautiful.
Well
beautiful.
Thought out.
Long walks. I think it maybe is a better answer than getting your lover in eternal life to kill you so you don't have to live forever.
That's dramatic as fuck, though, Scream Queen. But respect to that. Respect to the drama.
Very romantic. It's
very Shakespearean almost. Yeah. It is definitely. I was just going to go. Well, I was just going to go the lazy route because it hit me when I read the books back in the day, and I loved them all. I read them very quickly. The Vampire Chronicles. To a certain point, I only read up to the Body Thief. Life, etc. Vampire Lestat, yes, Lestat. I think he said to Louis at one point, a way to deal with the boredom and inanity of eternal life is to go to sleep for 300 to 400 years.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I'm putting that rule into this universe that I have the ability to do that. Yes, and I won't be disturbed. And and then wake up and the world changes in 300 to 400 years. If you look at our own history, completely. And so imagine doing that right now in 300 to 400 years. Yes,
so you'd just be hibernating.
Go, okay, what's all this shit? What's all this? And then go, okay, what's all this about? Let's figure this out. Yeah.
For someone who's very scared of my own mortality, I'm also very scared of the idea of eternal life.
Oh no, it's always scared me. Like there was a lot of the British shows, like Doctor Who. I'm sure I did it. of you'd be turned into a statue. Yes, so you
Yeah.
were conscious, yeah, but you would be a
Yeah.
statue made of stone for eternal life. That's how you achieved immortality. Yeah, and that freaked me out when I was young. Yeah.
Doctor Who and the Five Doctors with the faces on the side of the casket. It's like, oh no, you get, if you open this, you get eternal life. But yeah, you're just going to be this immovable face on the side of a casket. Only the eyes moved. Ah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Um, Before we all sign off and do our own thing, I had some random questions.
Ooh.
Scream Queen, you're into zombies. Have you seen The Sadness?
Ah.
No, but you have mentioned it to me before.
I have mentioned before. Yeah. Okay.
You said it was gut wrenching.
Yes,
like,
it's
really,
extremely
really rough.
gut wrenching. Yeah, very, very rough.
So,
Watch it during the day.
okay.
Yes, yes. I'll leave that there. And yeah, it is a trigger warning thing for those who are curious and going to listen to this and go see it. It is very extreme, but the point they make through the extremity is very poignant and pointed and on point. It's spawned out of the pandemic. It's not really saying this is the pandemic, but it's a pandemic baby. Yeah, it was like this pandemic happened, and then of course this movie happened. It's a Taiwanese zombie film, and and we were just talking about zombie films and ones that hadn't affected us in a while, and this one affected me to no end, definitely.
So it came out in the last couple of years.
22.
Yeah,
last year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
last year.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Okay, so this is the only question really. Monster movies, like they do come out at certain times throughout history, being a reflection of people's fears and society, a way to deal with that, to process it, which people, you can say that people do that throughout history with art. And so is AI the new monster?
Oh,
because we've had the creator, we've had Megan, there's others coming, certainly. Will AI be the new trend? Is AI the new societal fear that will be reflected in horror movies?
maybe. It's certainly popping up more.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look like early 2000s, the theme of AI and sort of taking over in horror sort of already started.
Yeah.
Like, these are terrible examples, but like you have like Terminator. That's not a horror movie, but you have you have the movie. Is it iRobot?
iRobot.
Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Like those kind of movies about robots and.
Yes, you do. You have the thing at Freddy's. What's that called? That's coming soon.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Yep. Oh, so excited for that movie. You have no idea.
But
that's my Barbie.
They also did that with the One Banana, Two Banana. What were they called?
Nicolas Cage movie?
Yeah, no, that was a different one. That's once again, that's a third one. What was the kids show? There was an elephant, a tiger, a monkey. Why can't I remember it? And they drove little buggies. This is going to annoy me. Just pause for a sec while I Google this.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. There's also another strange trend happening in horror with Disney property and childhood, beloved icons like Winnie the Pooh. What's one that I saw that's
Honey?
coming?
Oh yeah, with the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, because he's out of.
There's another.
Yeah.
There's another one that's coming. There's another property I saw that's coming. They're already doing it. It's not Bambi, even though they're talking about Bambi as a horror movie. Yeah.
Oh God.
Banana Splits. So Five Nights at Freddy's, Banana Splits, the one that Nicolas Cage did where he doesn't speak throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but
yeah, these Chuck E. Cheese animatronic, like
yeah,
kids restaurant type
animatronics.
things.
That's my number one
Yeah.
monster. I'm telling
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the Banana
Vamp-
Splits
vampires.
film, in the Banana Splits film, they're planning on shutting down the Banana Splits show, and then the AI inside the animatronics goes, "No, we can't be shut down. We must keep the show must go on. The show must go on. The show must go on." So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite cool.
I guess my answer to the question would be it's not a new horror thing because it's definitely, but I think you're right that it, with Megan and movies like that.
Let's call it a prediction. It's about to ramp up.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see
I absolutely think it's about to ramp up.
Yeah.
And I think alongside it, we're still gonna have humans as the monster. I think that is
Yeah.
always gonna be a monster in monster movie. It's always gonna be the main contender.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of such, has anyone seen Saw X?
Not yet, but I plan to see
No.
it. I will often go to a movie when I'm traveling, and I haven't been. I've been to a cinema in Wellington, where I'm going to very shortly, but I haven't been to Auckland before, so I'll probably see it in Auckland.
Okay, yeah. No, they've got nice big cinemas there, nice big old regal buildings in the central city there.
Yeah.
There, Baron. I plan to see it because apparently it's really good. Some
I've heard
reviewers
it's really, really
calling
good.
it the best of the series.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, some people have called it the best.
It's going to take a lot to beat number one.
That's my contention. Yes, automatically, that's my thought. Yeah, but I'm glad that it's not shit. Yeah, and apparently the new Exorcist is not shit either. The way that they've done a sequel type thing with it, that it's like it's nothing on the original, like nothing, but it's treated very nicely, and has set up a trilogy, which was more than this particular reviewer, shout out Spooky Astronauts.
Love Spooky Astronauts.
Was expecting. Yeah, no, she was actually okay. No, this is actually worth seeing because, of course, expectations were low. But, and
I saw
the guy who did the new Halloween movies, to put it into context. Yeah.
I saw the Nun sequel.
Okay, please. And
I hadn't seen the first one, so I don't know.
Interesting.
I kind of was avoiding watching it because I heard it was terrible.
I hated it with a violent passion. Yes.
That's
one of my most hated horror movies.
I haven't seen it because I heard it was just awful, and I love the Conjuring movies, but
same. Yeah.
But the Nun, the sequel was, I thought, very good. There were some very good scares. It was like, I wouldn't say it's the best, but I thought there were some very creative spooks in it, and I trust your opinion. Yeah. I enjoyed how they sort of brought it all together and how they positioned the lead character, how it all fit together, and why she was sort of the chosen one that the nun had sort of picked on, I guess. It was interesting. Yeah. I think all of the Conjuring films are sort of religious propaganda. They're good. They're good.
That's a conversation.
Yeah.
That's a cool conversation. Yeah. So I think we're good.
Yeah. Well, should we?
This has been fun. This has been good. Yeah.
So any plugs, people?
Watch Van Helsing.
I honestly, Scream Queen, I think you'd really enjoy Monster Squad. So track down a copy of it. I think you'd really enjoy it.
My to watch list is growing and growing.
Of course it is. All right. Well, then let's. Given that I started this, I'll finish it. So let's give a shout out to Evil Corp.
Yes. Always to Evil Corp.
Thank you.
Thank you to Kate.
Now I've got some personal plugs. I've got a couple of shows coming up. I've got a show called The Starting Zone coming up for Improv Queensland, which is an immersive role-playing game based kind of D&D show, which will be in November. And in November, December, I've got Speed, the movie, the play coming back, and that'll be that'll be the Wynnum Fringe. And I've got an event. I don't know whether it's if it's accessible by the public or not, but as part of the Queensland Ghostbusters, we're doing some events like the Wynnum Halloween parade. Anyone can go along to that, and there's another charity event in December that's going to have a whole bunch of costumed people at it, and I'll be one of those in my Red Guardian from Marvel costume. What about you, Mr. Popcorn? Any particular plugs?
I will cover our social media rather than plugs.
Sure.
And to that end, thank you, Scream Queen, for setting up the Instagram there. It is looking great. What's the handle there if people want to find us on Instagram?
So it's at Evil Popcorn Pod.
Excellent, thank you. And yeah, just type in Evil Popcorn Podcast.
Yeah, follow us
on the Facebook, on the Google. Yep. And once you get to Facebook or Google with the YouTube, go to the YouTube and subscribe to there, please. And just do all of the things. I won't. You all know what they are. Just do all of the things that can help us
share,
reach more people. Subscribe. And all of that, absolutely. And thank you to those who have helped us to get to this point, and and who have shown interest thus far. And Scream Queen, do we want to mention? Entirely up to you. You're up next in the chamber with our next episode, our next official episode, our next Australian film that we're covering for our Australian horror film series.
Am I naming?
You want to disclose it now? Or do you want to
I think I've said it at the end of last episode. Actually,
get some sizzle.
We're watching Sissy, the 2022 Aussie horror film.
And if people want to see it before they listen to our podcast,
if you want to see it before you listen to the pod, you can find it at Apple TV. You can find it on Shudder.
Okay,
those are the two places that I know that you can find it.
Yes, and support.
Yeah.
Support Shudder. Yes, it's only $7 if you're a horror fan.
Shudder is so cheap. There's so much good content on it.
There is. It can be a little faulty, and it's always adding stuff to the collection. And but it is only $7, and it's way better than it started, and it's a ground roots thing. And support it, and it will get better. And Baron, I believe you saw one that I saw as well. It's called Chilling.
Yes.
I don't know too much about it. Yeah,
it seems to have a really nice mix of classic horror and new stuff or indie stuff. You can subscribe at $6 a month, or there is a version of it that it's free that you get ads with. And in today's day and age, with people having limited income, a free version with some ads sounds pretty damn good for a horror platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if you don't want to sign up to 15, streaming platforms to find one movie, Tubi, for those who don't know it, check out Tubi if you're a horror fan, if you're a B-grade movie fan, that sort of thing, because it's there is so much content in there, and a lot of it is what is this? But you find lots of hidden gems.
Same with Shudder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's definitely hidden gems. If you like a good,
there's ads on Tubi, but barely any.
Yeah, if you like a good mockbuster, definitely Tubi.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, cool.
So
vampires.
if you vampires, we love them. That's the verdict. I love that. I think that's so great.
That is great. Yeah. So we'll have to find some vampire related social
we
media
need to do a vampire
business.
We could do Daybreakers coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
Yeah. We'll cover more vampire films and do vampire films again in some way. I think then, if that's the case, if we're all into it,
Oh, that's what I was going to ask before. Have you both been watching What We Do in the Shadows?
I am up still trying to catch up.
Okay. Halfway through season 3.
Oh, it's such a good show.
I'm still on season 1.
And have you watched the original film, the original documentary?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes,
absolutely. I watched all the
Kiwi. All the Kiwi stuff, and halfway through season 3 of the American stuff. And if anyone's doubtful, the American remake rules. It has Matt Berry in it,
so good.
Oh, Natasha Dimitri.
If you know who Matt, and if you know who Matt Berry is, and you're a fan of him, watch it. Yeah,
the original creators are producers and star in it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
had cameos.
they've had cameos, but I mean they've had cameos from pretty much every vampire franchise. Like they had Wesley Snipes show up.
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton showed up.
Yeah, from Only Lovers Left Alive, which was random.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It is. Yeah, it's incredible.
But
it's
the quality of the cameos increased when Taika Waititi started doing American films.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yes. It's not a ploy at all. Yeah,
actually,
but I get it.
I will
do the
plug
same.
one more show. I will plug one more show.
Do it.
I don't know where you can get it from. I got it from like Argy Matey's Vision because I don't think it played in Australia, and you can't get it on DVD. So if you can find it, watch it because there's no way to pay for it. It's a show called Death Valley, and it's a documentary series set at a police station in a world where zombies, vampires, and werewolves exist, and they have a police department that's set up specifically to deal with it. And it's a comedy. It's a comedy documentary show.
Okay.
It is note perfect cops, but with werewolves and vampires and zombies.
Yeah. Fantastic. We have a nice little eclectic mix of stuff here. Yeah. Nice little eclectic mix of taste between us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with some definite through lines of similarities going on. Yeah, it's cool. I think we're going to cover some cool shit.
It's very
yeah. So we're going to do Sissy next as the main next episode. And we'll work
very
out another conversation.
Gen Z horror, I've heard some people call it. Yeah. So if that's not a through line, I don't know what is.
All right. Well, that's us then, I think, isn't it?
That's our monsters.
It is. Yeah, that is our monsters. Yeah, well, this has been Mr. Popcorn, keeping it buttery. Scream Queen, what have you been doing?
Screaming. I've been screaming, I've been yelling, sobbing. That's,
Baron, can you finish us off, please?
Well, this is the Baron saying that if you want a truly horrific movie experience on Netflix, you can see Battlefield Earth.
Where is David Miscavige?
Shh, he might be listening. They're always listening. All right. Night, folks.
Whoa.